City of Phoenix and Phoenix police are awaiting the final report from the Department of Justice's 2-year civil rights investigation. The ABC 15 investigators tracking this story closely. City council members defiant at a meeting yesterday. Some said they don't want an agreement that would give the feds and outside consultants authority to make major changes in policing with an open checkbook and no definitive end to their authority.
Why the hell would anybody ever accept a consent decree?
Some large cities have accepted consent decrees.
Yeah, so ABC 15 senior investigator Melissa Blasius traveled to one of those cities, Alburquerque, where they want to share their lessons learned with Phoenix.
Since 2014, the city of Albuquerque here has been working on a series of federally required reforms, trying to reduce officers' use of force and shootings. Now, with that decade of reform experience, Albuquerque leaders have some advice for Phoenix, facing a similar federal probe now. As they've investigated Phoenix, Department of Justice lawyers have received 22,000 body-worn camera videos. They've interviewed 130 police and city employees, and they've ridden along for 200 hours with Phoenix officers.
I would directly say to the people in your community that they're fooling themselves if they think these lawyers are coming here as some kind of radicals who are going to pick on a decent police department. They only go after the worst of the worst.
Peter Kubra is a retired attorney who's closely watched how the DOJ's consent decree played out in Albuquerque.
If they're going to bring one in your city, it's a pretty clear sign that the facts there are very bad.
Albuquerque didn't fight. They signed on the dotted line.
The president of the Police Officers Union says that was a mistake.
This is going to cost hundreds of millions of taxpayers' dollars. You have to stand up for yourself in this process. And I think that Albuquerque would already be done with this or in a better place if they had.
If they had negotiated hard on the front end.
Yes.
He urges Phoenix to act now, making common sense reforms and getting community buy-in. Because in Albuquerque, the DOJ required massive overhauls to policies, training, and discipline, and the police department was accused of trying to evade compliance.
What a consent decree hopes to achieve is not just to sort of tweak a couple policies. What we're really looking for is that deep cultural systemic transformation.
And really focus on not so much fighting against, the Department of Justice or the fact that there's a consent decree, but really trying to focus resources on changing that use of excessive force or changing whatever those problems are that are identified.
We wanted to do it the Albuquerque way.
Albuquerque's current police chief says he's pushed back when he believed rules to improve accountability actually created unmanageable workloads.
The city needs to stand behind the person they choose as chief, and they need to let them make the best decisions and pick the fights that need to be picked, because they're doing this job every day and they know that agency well, and you got to give them the support they need.
Over the past 3 years, big progress. The city has achieved 94% compliance with their consent decree. Use of force incidents are down more than 40%, even as officers make more arrests.
We developed a good working relationship, and it was no longer ideas or scholastic visions or unrealistic expectations that were being pushed upon the Albuquerque Police Department.
The current challenge here in Albuquerque is figuring out how to wrap up the consent decree and move forward for the future, which is why local leaders here advise Phoenix to think of an end game from the very start. I'm investigator Melissa Blasius, ABC 15, Arizona.